this is as far as I've gotten with this little chick that I'm making for my friend. And I've been sewing it up. It actually wasn't too bad. I didn't really want to sew, but I am determined to finish this. And Tony's right behind there. This is taking me a long time. I don't know how long this has been, but we ended up leaving to get an air filter. And so we got fabric glue. Damn, I said it like I said the store. And then I'm gonna do the little eyeballs, the little smiley face, and then the cheek blush. And then I still just need to make, because I forgot, the little knife, which I'm gonna put it on this side because I don't really like how, this is the first piece that I sewed, and I don't like how it came out. Like, it's not that bad, but I like the way this one flares out. Almost done. Mad props to all the people that make amigurumis on a regular, because this shit is so time consuming. Okay, so I meant to give an update regarding the book I was reading yesterday, actually. Since the power was out, we didn't have, of course, good lighting. And honestly, it was just too hot to film. Like, we were just sweating and using like the little foldable fans and just fanning ourselves. And like it helped, but obviously a fan would have been better, and even better to have our air conditioning back and power. It did come back this morning around 7:30, 8 a.m. So we were only out for about 26 hours. I say only because it could have been worse. It's like people are still, their power's still not on yet. But we're okay. I slept through the heat. Like, I'm used to the power being out and like not having air conditioning because we grew up poor, or yeah, whatever, you get it. So I gave up. Earlier I said I was going to make a little knife to go with the little plushie, which I'm going to show it to you. Super cute. I love it. I'll include who the creator is for this pattern. It's a free pattern I found on Instagram. A friend really liked it, and her birthday was coming up, so I decided to make it for her. She originally wanted like a little knife on it, but it just came out super ugly and I just didn't like it. I just gave up on it. It has taken me so long to do this. I was telling her I just wanted to chuck it into the room and just forget it even existed, like multiple times, because just my ADHD just did not, like, I was just so overwhelmed with the amount of steps I had to do, because it's like, you have to make the body, you have to make the parts, cut out the felt, cut out the shapes, you can't like stuff it at the end, you have to do it as you're going, because eventually you're gonna end up, this ends up narrowing, and it's just gonna make it harder to stuff. To do this, to like attach the parts, you have to sew, and I don't really like sewing, which honestly, it wasn't that bad. Like, I used the big plastic needles that came with like the crochet kit. I tried using the metal needles, but they just didn't have the hole wasn't wide enough for the yarn to go through. But not too bad. I really like how it came out. I did take a picture because I have a habit of like making stuff, and then people are like, "Oh, what have you made?" And I'm like, I have nothing to show. Somebody actually at the vegetarian Indian place that I go to by work, she was showing me her like the stuff that she makes, and I was like, "Oh, I have pictures somewhere." So now I know to make like a little photo album to show people. I do still have the bunny that I need to just cut out the eyeballs and like a little nose, maybe some whiskers, and I still have the one that I have to make for my sister. I'm not going to see her for a bit anyways, because they don't have power either, so I'll do that eventually. I'm burnt out from doing crochet. I am glad to be going back to reading. Gosh, I keep forgetting the title of this book. 20 years later, I finished it. I rated it like a 4 to 4.5 stars. Originally I was going to give it 5 stars until I read the epilogue, and I did not like normally I like a plot twist at the end. It's just, I like the way it wrapped up before the epilogue. for me personally, it just felt like there wasn't enough information involved for me to feel like that plot twist was needed. But whatever. I'm surprised that I completed a book, given the fact that I was actually able to stay awake long enough, and driving to Buc-ee's last night honestly helped. I read a lot through there, because we were looking for snacks and trying to see like who has power and whatever. Suffice to say, I am on to the second book, which is Canterville Ghost, which is a, like I said earlier, it's a funny ghost story written by Oscar Wilde, who wrote The Picture of Dorian Gray. I know it has like the Gothic literature kind of, I want to say it's Old English language, but it's very easy to read. Like, I'm not sitting here like having to like slowly read every single word and like trying to process it each sentence by sentence, because that's what slows me down in certain books. So let me take a break. Let me offset it with water. Really easy read. It's only 26 pages. I'm about halfway through, but I was falling asleep last night around 1 o'clock or something. And then I was crocheting this morning, and then I was catching up on watching the Summerween videos by Katie and Gabby. But I do also need to edit, and I'm excited to do that because I have the September vlog from last year that I want to post, because it does have like the little like spooky witchy vibes that would be nice with this one, with the Summerween ones. So yeah, need to do that, and I want to go to the gym. So anyways, point is, I'm want to finish Canterville Ghost, and then I'm going to start reading Home is Where the Bodies Are. I think that's the next prompt, which is I think 5 words or more. So I do want to get to the Canterville Ghost before I end up like finishing up this book before I end up doing anything else. The challenge is only for a week, so I do want to get through at least 4 books. One of them's an audiobook, so I could honestly listen to that one at the gym if I wanted to. Anyways, let me tell you about this book, because I'm like going around the whole thing. The Canterville Ghost is involving a family moving in to a house, and they've been warned. They have like royal titles, like they're high status, and they end up looking into this house and buying it, and then the seller's warning them like, hey, there's a ghost that's haunting it, just so you know, like, I don't know if you really want to buy it. And they're like, we don't believe in ghosts, we don't care, we'll buy the house. And then he's like, are you sure? Because people have literally disappeared, they've left the house frantically, like psychological damage, like all these things. And they're like, we still don't believe in ghosts. Like, that's cute that you do, but like, we're not religious or anything, like that's not a thing. So they end up buying the house, and with the house comes the maid who had been there, and even she's emphasizing like all of like very specific stories of like everything that's happened, on how like this ghost has haunted people. So she kind of stops. Like eventually they have like normal, like, it's just funny. I did really enjoy it. Kind of sad that it's a short story, because now I feel like it should have been a long, like, I wouldn't mind reading 300 pages of like their shenanigans, or maybe just like maybe 100 pages, you know, that wouldn't be bad. I'm really enjoying Summerween. It's so much fun. It also helps that the power's out at work, so I have more time to read, because normally, yeah, I'm not awake or I'm struggling to stay awake. But I'll update y'all once I finish this book. Next book to read is Home is Where the Bodies Are. I did read 1 chapter, and I read it pretty fast. I thought it was going to be longer. I like it, even though it's sad, because there's I don't know what the main character's name is yet, but her mom was dying. And then she's just like, oh, yeah, my sister's like a drug addict, and then my brother is, I don't know what he is. I forgot what his issue was, but he had left the house, I guess, at 17, and then he hadn't visited, and then the dad just like disappears. But then right before the mother dies, she's just like, "Oh no, your dad didn't disappear," and then she's like, "Don't trust, ... and then she dies, and then the kid is like, "What the heck?" So I'm very engaged.
Something that's going to scare me. The previous book didn't really do it for me, but this one looks like it might. This one looks really messed up. This follows a serial killer called Andrew, and he fakes his own death so that he can...
So of course when the movie starts playing in my head as I'm reading is exactly when I start dozing. I can tell because I start having thoughts, but like I'm aware that my eyes are closed, so it's like a weird, like my dreams and thoughts start like meshing together, and it gets really, it's hard to describe, but they like blend, and that's how I know, like, oh shit, I need to get up. So I got up, got water, got some IV. So far, oh, hi, there you go. So far there's just more family drama involved, but we're getting into the part where the three, I'm not gonna say kids, but like the three siblings in Homes Where the Bodies Are, Beth, Nicole, and Michael, are gonna be searching, or their mom has passed away, so they're gonna be going through the house and seeing what they need to keep, and that's when they're gonna find like the cassette showing that their parents were like hiding a body. So, but so far we've seen like there's a lot of like tension between the three, because Michael's disappeared for 7 years without any contact with the sisters. Nicole is still struggling with an addiction, and Beth has been like taking care of their mom, the home. She's been patient with with Nicole. Beth has been trying to take care of Nicole because she cares for her, but she also, like, I guess after, like, for like a year, she just stopped trying to help her because she understands that, you know, she'll ask for money, but it's just to, like, fuel her addiction, or she says she's getting better, but she doesn't. And so there's a lot of distrust with Nicole, and then Nicole feels misunderstood, and like she feels like a fuck up. It's just all of the siblings are going through something. I'm not sure what Michael, like what his issue is. Like obviously it's said that they say that he's the most successful out of all of them, but I would think that he has some sort of issues as well. We're gonna see if I can stay awake. If not, I'll just stand while I read, because I'm really want to know what's gonna happen.
Anyways, let me get back to what I was doing. I just wanted to give you a little update that we have already completed a few things off the task list. I'm very excited about that. My goal would be to get what I've written down in here done.
I finished Homes Where the Bodies Are. It was great. I had 2 people that I was suspecting were involved. And I got, like, the first one I was like, kind of doesn't make sense. I feel like the second one could. And then the second one was right. So I was like, oh, I guess right. But normally I give like a little space between reading books, but today's like technically July 10th. No, July 11th, my bad. Today's July 11th, and it's technically the last day of Summerween. I keep wanting to say Harroween. Summerween. And so I'm going to be listening to Our Wives Under the Sea. I think that's what it's called. During work. And I'll let you know who that is. Highly recommend Homes Where the Bodies Are if you do want a thriller with like a 90s summer setting, family drama, and characters and like changing point of views. That's the one. Probably my favorite so far out of the ones that I've read. This is when we find out whether I finished the challenge or not. And I did! Yay! I did manage to finish 4 books this week. And because the last book I was listening to on audiobook is the Our Wives Under the Sea, I managed to check it out on Libby from my local library, which support your local libraries. Because of the cover of the book, I decided to do this like sunset inspired makeup. The book is involving a lesbian couple, and apparently when you mix the colors it makes rose gold, so I wore rose gold today, and these chaperone inspired earrings. I will be wearing my glasses now because I cannot see. I'm gonna let you know what I thought about the book. Now you would think, because after I just said all that I absolutely love the book, but I didn't. It was okay. I like the concept of Our Wives Under the Sea. We have 2 characters named Miri and Leah, and Leah is gone on an expedition under the sea in a submarine, and then she comes back. Now her trip down there was delayed, and so she ended up coming back later. And then we have Miri, who's been waiting for her wife to come back, and when she comes back, she's not the same person that she was. Like, she's not like mentally here. The person that she knew, the Leah that would recite facts upon facts of like about the ocean and like the sea animals and the stuff that we haven't seen, that we haven't discovered under the ocean, like at the bottom of the sea, you know, that Leah's gone. And so this is Miri going through the process of like trying to get her help, because she hasn't been given an explanation as to why the submarine was delayed, as to why Leah's like this, what happened to the other people that were on the expedition with her. Like, there's nothing. And so she's trying to grieve, but at the same time trying to find acceptance. And I think I like those aspects of the book. It changed point of views between Miri in the present and then Leah in the past, and like how they were, and you're seeing how the relationship was before. And Miri kind of explains like it's very hard to describe how to love somebody when the accumulation of like traits and like experiences and just like little things that you like about this person, you know, who you choose to be with. And so she's like showing us those bits of before and then like after what's going on. Leah, on the other hand's point of view, is a lot of it's just like telling us facts of like what her interests are and like past, like what got her interested in the ocean and why she was excited for this, and her experiences are on like the last few days that she's on the submarine before they end up coming back up. I think the writing was very beautiful. I think the concept's super cool. I really like appreciated that it wasn't necessarily a romance novel. Not that I hate, like I enjoy romance novels, like you'll see me read them. But I don't know, I feel like it just gets very like, especially with LGBT reads, a lot of them revolve around just romance. And I would like there's other genres that this could be a part of. I want something different. You know, like life isn't just romance. Like, I would like to see more, you know, more branching out. Things that I didn't like about the book is that it just felt like it was dragging on. Like, at first, like, I understood what the author was doing in terms of showing us, like, Leah was just basically a ghost. I thought it was cool that Leah would tell her facts about the ocean and stuff. Like, it was very interesting. But as I kept listening to it, it just felt like all you knew was Leah. You didn't really get to know Mary as much, like who she is as a person. Like, there's not as much talk about her interests. Like, it's mostly about Leah and like her relationship to her. Like, it felt very one-dimensional in that sense. And then Leah at the same time also felt one-dimensional, because all I really got was that she really likes the ocean and she went in a submarine and came back, and that, you know, she was inspired to learn about the ocean and chose her career because of her father. So it was like the one-dimensional characters. Even though the writing is very beautiful and I like the atmosphere, it just felt like it dragged on for too long. It would have been better as a short story, in my opinion. At the end, you didn't really get a conclusion as to what under the ocean was what caused this, like, I went into it accepting that it wouldn't have an ending or maybe necessarily a clear answer as to why or what Leah might have seen under the ocean that like spooked her so much that it changed her whole outlook and personality. But it just didn't feel like it had an explanation. Like, it kept going into like there's gonna be something unknown, and it was never clear. Like, it just felt like there was no explanation into anything. Like Leah went into this mission, and the center is supposed to answer questions for the families, and they don't provide answers, and they don't even say why Leah was going under. Like, the characters themselves in the submarine are saying, like, why did they even send us down here? Like, what are we supposed to be researching? We see nothing. Like, we see just darkness. And so there's never an answer as to why are they down there to begin with. It implies like there's some sort of haunting, but then it's not clear whether it's because of their loneliness that they're imagining things, you know, like, you know, we know that isolation can affect you very severely, and were they seeing things because of that? Was it because there was nobody, like, they could interact with each other. Also, like, why didn't they have anything to do down there? Like, because if it was me, if I was in a submarine, I would bring, like, freaking, I don't know, Uno cards, or, like, I have hobbies, so I would bring coloring books and gaming stuff. Like, these are adult people. You're going to tell me that neither one of them thought to have something else with them to keep themselves entertained? And I get that they were originally supposed to be, I think, down there for, like, 3 weeks or 3 months, and then it got extended to 6 months. But still, like, you had nothing. And that was, like, another gripe I had. Like, again, it doesn't show, like, these characters as, like, fully developed individuals. There's no character development, which sometimes it doesn't have to be, but because the plot isn't necessarily going anywhere, you would think that it kind of makes it up for it. And I did end up going on Reddit to see, like, what did people think about it, because I'm like, I listened to it and I was just like, is that it? Like, and I'm confused. Like, nothing happened. Like, I understand that Leah's technically gone. Like, did Miri make that up? Like, was that the point of the book? That Miri might have, like, maybe Leah did die, and she made up her coming back up, and she's made up this whole experience of her living with her. Like, is that what the point was? Enough about me bashing this book, but I hope it didn't sound like I was bashing it. Like, it was very interesting, and in some ways I enjoyed it. In some parts I just didn't enjoy as much. So if I were to rank them, I would definitely recommend Home is Where the Bodies Are. Number 1, that is my 5-star read. The second 5-star read I gave was the Canterville Ghost by Oscar Wilde. That one's a very cute, humorous short story. Then I would give it to 3 Years Later. I think I gave that one a 4 stars. And then Wives Under the Sea, I would give it 2 stars. Only because of the writing was really good and the concept was cool. Otherwise, it would have been a 1 star. Thank you so much for watching, and subscribe if you like.